Hello friends, this is Wendy with Love and Stampin'. I am so excited you're here today. We are going to be using the Rabbit Hole Designs Lovely Lily stamp set that my friend Kelly Taylor designed or illustrated. And then we're also going to use the Sassy Sentiments. These are really cute sentiments from the Rabbit Hole. I'm starting out with Azure Afternoon ink, and I'm going to, from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to just ink up the center of this card base. This is, or I guess card layer. This is cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. No, 4 by 5 1/4, sorry. And I'm just going to make it a little bit darker in the center and lighter around the edges. And then we're going to bring in a mask from the Rabbit Hole Designs. I think it's called honeycomb something, and I'm gonna lay another layer of it down over the top of this. Here I removed my cardstock from my sticky mat. The sticky mat I have is from Altenew, and you can tell it's very well loved. It is one of my favorite tools in my craft room now. I absolutely love it. And it's great because your stencils stick to the photopolymer, and if it becomes unsticky, all you have to do is like wipe it clean with some water and it'll get sticky again. So there I laid a little bit of a pattern down using exactly the same ink, and then I'm going to set this aside, and I am going to, first I'm going to stamp the sentiment, sorry, and then I'm going to set it aside and we're going to color the lily. So for the sentiment, I'm using You Are the Thelma to My Louise. And this card I'm actually going to give to a friend of mine, Laura. I think most of you have heard me talk about her before, but occasionally we refer to each other as Thelma or Louise. I don't know who's who, but we're sassy, and she is one of my closest friends. She probably is my closest friend that's unrelated to me, I should say. And so she is just somebody who has been in my life for, 2 decades now. And I don't have any particular reason to give her this card except that she's just a really good friend of mine and I love her. And sometimes I think the people in our lives who are our friends play even a bigger role for us than our relatives as we get older. At least that's been the case for me. So I'm going to set this aside now that I have my sentiment stamped, and I'm kind of fumbling here a little bit. And I'm going to tell you why I'm fumbling in just a second. So now I'm going to stamp my lily image in Hero Arts Intensified Black Ink. And this ink is safe for alcohol markers and other markers. I will by the way, link to all of these products over on my blog in the description below this video. I know there's been some struggle with understanding how to get to the description box, but if you can't get there, you can just go to loveandstampin.com. That's my website, and I'll drop it on the screen here, and you can see my blog post there. Okay, so I've inked this up a couple of times in my Mini Misty, and stamping it just so I have a really nice, beautiful, solid, strong impression. I want my image to be super crisp and clear and have really nice, beautiful lines. So one of my favorite things about Kelly's illustrations is that her lines are a little bit thicker than some of the Rabbit Hole Designs stamp sets. I like all their stamp sets, but because I'm a little bit new at coloring, I would say I'm not a beginner, but I'm not an intermediate. I'm somewhere in between. It's like when you've lost 15 pounds and you don't fit in either size. You know what I'm talking about? That's where I am. I don't fit in a specific category right now. And so for me, a thicker line is easier for me to color. It makes it so that there's more room for error. So let's talk about the colors I'm using and how I chose them and why. And this actually is going to kind of bring us into a little bit of story time because of the coloring. So let's get into that. So I'm going to use, I actually have the markers here in my hand. I'm using E09, YR09, YR04, and Y17. I'm pretty sure those are the same colors you're seeing on the screen. I know the E09 for sure because you can see I was a good girl and I set them into the marker up there, the lid. The other colors are close. if they're not the same. I know the YR09 is right. I'm almost positive. Anyways, bottom line is you're still going to get a pretty blend. I wanted to color these as tiger lilies because that is the intended lily that this is. So my friend Laura, her favorite, she loves calla lilies. Those are her favorite. But calla lilies remind me of funeral flowers, and they are very beautiful, but that's what they make me think of. And so I wanted to color these as a tiger lily, and I just thought that would be a really pretty fall look to the flower. How did I pick the colors? I didn't. That's the short and sweet answer. I didn't pick the colors. You know why? Because I'm not an expert colorist. You know who picked the colors? You know who helped me color these lilies? Kelly Taylor. Yes, she did. So let me just tell you the backstory. So there is a woman by the name of Tina. Not the Tina that you guys know me to know. For those of you who have been following me forever, let me clarify. It's not the same Tina. But she's a card maker in the card making industry. And recently there was a fundraiser for her because she has breast cancer. And one of the things in the fundraiser that you could bid on was a crafting session with Kelly Taylor and Dawn Wilcycle from W+9. They are best friends. They are the Thelma and Louise in the card making world, right? So they gave this thing as, you could bid on it or whatever. So I bid on it and I won. And originally they had asked me, Kelly, so backing up a little, Kelly and I are friends, and we have talked before and many times on the phone, and she is a contributor of the Creative Vault. So if you think this coloring is beautiful and you're like, wow, this is awesome, truthfully, this isn't me. This is Kelly coming through me. So if you want lots of videos on how to color, I've got videos all the way back to February of this year on coloring. So, and they're all by Kelly. And those are in the Creative Vault. So anyway, here I'm probably chatting with them actually, because during this time I was chatting, I was probably asking what colors I should use for my green. So I had never watched any of Dawn's videos because I just didn't realize she was a colorist, and she also is a colorist. So you definitely want to be following both of them on YouTube. And if you can let them know that I sent you, that'd be great, so that they know I'm like helping them out too, promoting their channel. So anyway, I got all sidetracked. So as I was coloring, she was like, here's the colors you should use to make a tiger lily. And I just think these are stunning. And then I was trying to figure out if I should color the little buds in as the same way or green. So I did one with the same colors, and then I did one in green. Now, you're going to ask me what greens I used. I don't know. They're in the YGs. That's what I can tell you. Unless I set them up here in front of you, I have no idea, because I struggle so much, you guys, to remember to write down the colors I'm using. So here's my hex chart. This is all the Copic markers I own, and this is from Sandy Allnock. So she's another amazing colorist. If you're trying to learn how to color and get better at it, I highly, highly, highly recommend taking some of her classes. So here I'm just swatching. That's exactly what this process is. It's swatching to decide what colors I'm going to use. So I went with 3 different greens. Like I said, I didn't write them down. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. But you can figure out a good combo as well. I'm continuing to learn more and more and more. And my big hope and dream one day is to take a Copic course where I can become a certified Copic person, like colorist. That's probably a little further down the road, but like that is something I have always wanted to do. I think it would be really neat to teach classes on coloring. And so I'm just in my phase of learning right now. That's what I'm doing. So I got this all finished and colored, and I thought it was absolutely stunning. And I was so proud of how well it came out. And I have to say is probably my very favorite. It kind of made me want to just sit and color these over and over and over and over. So anyway, now I'm going to go in with my white gel pen and add some dots around on the petals. This is something I see Kelly do all the time in her videos, and it really does add a level of detail, especially like for flowers, that I think is just extraordinary. So yeah, do I copy people? 110%. So don't ever feel weird about copying people. It's how we learn. And so I learned a lot doing this, and it was really cool to be on the phone with Kelly and Dawn while I was on FaceTime. So we were FaceTiming or Zooming, whatever. And okay, really quick, back to the card, and then we're going to jump back to story time. So I did not care for how the center of these flowers did not cut out with the die cut. It bothered me a lot because it kind of broke up my background pattern. I didn't mind the white edge around the outside, but I didn't like that big old stark white piece in the center. That bugged me. So I was talking to Kelly and Dawn about it. I'm like, what do I do about this? And I was showing it to them, and they said, just pick a color, a Copic color that matches, and color it in the center. So I was really, really brave and tried to color match as best I could. And then I ended up coloring in the center, and you'll see that here in a minute. So back to our chat. While we chatted, so what it started out was they messaged me and said, what do you want to do? What do you want to learn while we hang out? And I originally was like, well, maybe some watercolor stuff, because I know Dawn does some really beautiful like watercolor flowers and different things like that. And I was like, well, maybe some watercolor stuff. But then I was like, I don't know. So then we ended up getting on the phone with each other, or Zoom. And I was like, look, ladies. And I felt very comfortable doing this because I know Kelly. So had I not known either one of them, I probably wouldn't have done this. But I was like, look, ladies, I know you all have a bunch of work to do. I have a bunch of work to do. Let's just work. Let's just sit and work and craft together. And they were all for that. So that's what we did. We just had a work session and crafted, and I was able to hold stuff up and ask questions. And it was just fun. It was super fun. And it was like an hour and a half or maybe even 2 hours that we hung out and just crafted. And there is quite a time difference. They're 3 hours ahead of me. So here, back to the card, I am trying to figure out what color to put in the middle. That's why it's just like a card on the screen. And I didn't cut this portion of the video out because of story time. Because I thought if I cut too much of this video out and speed too much of this video up, we are going to end up not getting to have a chat. And I know you guys always look forward to that. So anyway, we really enjoyed hanging out. We had a fun time. We crafted, and I made this video while we were chatting, which is the beauty of voiceovers. And Kelly helped me color, and so did Dawn. And so it was just a really fun, good experience. And I hope someday to get to craft again that way with them. I will say, so that's going to lead me into the second part of story time, is that crafting for a business, for a living, like card making for a living, is very lonely. And you're probably like, what? That sounds like such a weird thing to say, but it is. 90% of the time, I spend several hours a day alone in my craft room. And there are times that it makes it really hard for me to even come into my craft room because of that. And I know this is like, first I want to say how grateful I am that this is my job. So in no way am I like complaining about it. I'm just stating facts. It can be isolating and it can be lonely. So you have to do things to find ways to feel kind of like you have company, or I don't know, like help you stay motivated and engaged. So one of the ways I've always done that is that I do have crafty friends that I reach out to, or they reach out to me, and we either chat on the phone while we're working. Occasionally we FaceTime. And then my biggest thing that I did recently, and it has been a game changer, I bought a TV for my office. So many of you, I brought this up in a previous video, or I don't even know where I brought it up. And my husband is blowing weeds outside the window now. Why does he do this to me? He waits until I'm recording a video and then decides that's a good time to blow leaves. I don't understand. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, I forget what I was saying. I lost my train of thought. Oh gosh. Anyways, oh yeah, the TV. So I had kind of like mentioned to you guys about getting a TV, and so many of you were like, get a TV, girl. What are you doing? How do you not already even have one? And so I did. Walmart was having a good deal on televisions. They did like a kind of like the Amazon Prime Day deals. They were doing deals too. So there was free shipping and a discount. So I got a TV for $110. I mean, do you guys remember the days when TVs were hundreds of dollars and they were the size of half of your house? If you're younger than 40, you probably don't remember those days, but I very much remember them. Anyway, our TV, the TV I got for the craft room, is 32 inches, so it's not gigantic. Did it fit on top of the stand that I already have that's a dresser that I wanted it to fit on? No, it did not. Of course not. It is literally too big by like 3 inches. Did I measure the dresser that I wanted it to go up on top of before I purchased it? No, I did not. Don't ask me these kinds of questions. You know the answer. So anyway, here I sit with I've taken a board, put it on top of the dresser so that the TV can fit on top of the dresser. I have plans. I eventually want the TV mounted on the wall, but I recognize that is going to require me convincing my husband to come into my office and do that for me. So he will do it. It's just going to take a little prodding, maybe some favors, if you know what I mean. So anyways, I'm going to color in. You see there, I picked the color I thought would match the best. Oh, here I'm showing it to Dawn. That's funny. I left that part of the video in. I picked the card up. I'm actually showing it to Dawn and Kelly. Is it perfectly matched? No, but it's good enough for government work, as they say. Which, by the way, I would like you to know, at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo, I said that to somebody and she was like, I work for the government. And I was like, well, of course you do. Because that is the nature of Wendy, is sticking her foot right in her freaking mouth. So, yeah, I've heard that saying since I was a kid, good enough for government work. And so it's just a saying that has stuck. And so if you work for the government, I mean, no offense, it's just a joke. Okay, so this card is finished. If you want to grab either of these stamp sets from the Rabbit Hole Designs, you can visit my blog. There's links there. And if you need any of the other products that I've used today, there's links over on my blog post. If you want Stampin' Up! Stuff, shop loveandstampin.com. Loveandstampin.com is my blog. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for taking time to be with me today. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.